This is Michael Orrell from MobileBurn.com. Today I have with me the Casio Brigade for Verizon Wireless. This is Casio's first QWERTY keyboard equipped ruggedized phone. If we look on the back of the box here, you can see here it is opened up with a large internal display and the rugged keyboard. This device supports push-to-talk on Verizon's EVDO Rev A network, and it comes at a pretty steep price, $249.99 after instant online rebate. So let's open up, see what we've got. Tips, hints, shortcuts, user guide information, that kind of stuff right up top. Here's the phone itself. It is really, really large. It is nearly an inch thick. That's a lot of phone to carry around. It's 167 grams, just short of 6 ounces. But set this aside for now and see what else we have in the box before we get into the phone details. Looks like we've got a charging cradle here. There's a proprietary Casio Hitachi port on the back, and the phone clicks in here. And we've also got the charger, and you can see it has the same port on here, so no micro USB or anything like that. So that's all we've got, just those booklets of the phone and the cradle right here. So let's take a look at the phone. So here's the phone itself, and the first thing you notice is this is a brick of a phone. 5.9 ounces, 167 grams. That is a lot of heft, and you can see it's almost an inch thick. So this is a really big phone. And considering it's ruggedized, you could probably really hurt somebody or hurt yourself with it in the right situation. But it does feel very, very solid. And you open it up, you can see the large QWERTY keyboard inside. There's 4 rows there, with one's the dedicated row for numbers, which means the space bar gets put between a couple of the letters. Messes up the layout a bit, but people seem to get used to that. Pretty large display. It's a wide QVGA display. It's 400 by 240 pixels. You can see the soft keys up here. Some dedicated buttons for messaging. Here's the function key for getting to special symbols, things like that. Clear back button right here. Send and end. And of course, a nice D-pad. It has a nice sharp metal edge to it. It's really easy to find by feel. It's quite nice, and the center select button seems quite good too. Let's take a look at the exterior of the phone. You can see we've got a traditional alphanumeric keypad here, just like you would see on old school phones. Again, a metal D-pad, not nearly as nice as the internal one though, but seems quite workable. And you still have a couple of shortcut buttons, including one for the camera and video camera. Send and end buttons, clear in the middle, not differentiated by color or anything like that, so it kind of blends in with the rest of the keypad. The keys are all very raised, very domed, nice feel to them, good click, something you could use with a glove on, I imagine. Not too much to see at the top edge. There's no pull-out antenna, it's an internal antenna. On the left-hand edge we've got a very difficult to open port for the charger. It's a heck of a lot easier to use the charging dock though, and you'll notice the red-orange colored O-ring around here for keeping a water seal. Definitely easier to use the charging dock, which just automatically contacts with those 2 contacts right there. We also have the red push-to-talk button here. We'll try to give you a demonstration of the push-to-talk service a little bit later in the video. Volume control and a quick access button for the video. Headphone port here, again, difficult to open. I mean, I'm really afraid I'm going to flip a nail here. I have to get a tool for that. It's these seals, to keep the water out of the device. I can see that it's necessary, but these seem a little bit more difficult to open than past Casio devices. So I'm going to use this little screwdriver here to flip up the port. Probably get a lot easier once it's been opened and closed a few times. You can see it's a 2.5mm headphone jack, so you're not going to be able to use standard headphones without an adapter, which is unfortunate, but stick that back in. You can see there's a speaker microphone port. You can see it's even labeled microphone right there. Previously mentioned contacts. This is the release for the back. Right now it's free, and now it's in the locked position so that you can't get the back off. We'll open that up again, try to pull the rear cover off. Again, not easy. This phone is very well sealed. You can see the large O-ring that goes around the battery compartment and everything. While we're here, we'll take off the protective film for the 3.2 megapixel autofocus camera. Also has face detection. There's those two contacts again. Really a solidly built phone. You can see it's like the nice looking screws are even polished up well. I mean, it's a pretty device in a rugged kind of way. Let's see if we can get this back on. It may not be easy. And put that into lock. Also not too easy. But oh, it's not quite on right. And looks like it's nice and sealed now. One thing I failed to notice while I had the rear cover off is that the micro SD card slot is totally and completely hidden by the battery. So you have to remove the battery and obviously power off the device in order to get to the micro SD card. It does support micro SD HC card, so you can put at least a 16 gig card, possibly one of the new 32 gig cards that we'll probably see announced within the next month or two. So let's power up the phone. I've taken off the protective covering from the external display. It's a very small display. It's 128 by 96 pixels, monochrome, but it's an organic LED display, interestingly enough. Looks like hopefully we'll have enough battery power to do something here. It's a 1440 milliamp hour battery. Verizon claims that that's good for 6 hours of talk time or just short of 4 days of standby time. Not particularly good on the standby time. You can see there's a multicolor status LED right above the external display there. Looks like we got a bit of a charge. Let's unlock the device. And looks like we've got access to a couple of features. Even the contact list. The external display is very, very sharp, even though it's low resolution. It's not really that bad at all. And you can see Bluetooth support. Look at this button here, suggests speakerphone, and maybe a long press turns on the camera's flash. It does. You can see that here. Handy. Instant flashlight. Same thing works here for the camera. I guess long press versus short press for activating the camera in still photo or video camera mode. Now I've got to unlock again. Wow, it's even using the black and white display for the camera. Very interesting. I don't think I've ever seen that. So we'll take a look at see what that looks like on the internal display. You can see there it is. Very interesting. See if there's any other features here. It looks like we can long press the pound or hash key to turn the phone onto vibrate mode. Long press it again probably to get it back. Volume controls, let's see. Lets you change the ringer volume and switch from all sounds off to alarm only, vibrate only, and then the various volume levels. See up here, these just metal things just appear to be decorative, or maybe fastening points for some internal structure, but wouldn't surprise me because this is again really, really solid phone. You could really do some damage with this thing, and my guess is it can take a lot of abuse. I mean, look at the really thick plastic corner guards on this thing. It is meant to be dropped. I mean, I'm going to drop the Brigade into its cradle here, and it turns out that it's a little bit wobbly, and Todd Hazelton, our guy up in New York, has already been working with one of these, and he says contacts don't maintain a tight connection, so he said, well, this would work fine on a desk where you're not moving around. This might not work too well for a truck just because of the play in it. This one doesn't seem too bad, so it might be just his unit, but something to keep in mind. When you drop the device in, it pushes down on this little lever here, which forces the contacts out, if you can see that. And those two contacts, of course, go into the metal contacts on the back of the Brigade. So while a dust, shock, and waterproof phone like the Brigade is good for a lot of things, it also ought to be good as a regular mobile phone. So let's take a look and see what it does in terms of functionality on the main display. We already showed you the QWERTY keyboard right here, so let's just go through the main menu. See, we've got support for I believe it's AIM, Windows Live Messenger, and Yahoo here. Uses your text messaging system. I'm pulling up the main menu by hitting the center button on the D-pad. It's a messaging app. And like on a lot of Verizon phones, you can move left or right inside the main section menus to move about, so you don't have to go back to the main menu each time. So you can see we'll go to messaging here. Let's just create a new test message just to see what it feels like. Really nice feel on these keys. The only problem is that weird layout, the 3-row alpha layout with the space bar in the middle throws off your spacing. Let's see, where periods in the upper left hand corner, dedicated key for it, it's not too bad. That's pretty nice. Actually, I think this works pretty well. Keys have very nice feel, well spaced out, really works quite nicely. I'm actually a little bit surprised if you can't tell. Just send that off, and we should get a message back from Verizon saying it was a invalid recipient. Fold the phone closed for that. There's the message. Quite loud, and you can see the multicolor indicator. We can view the message here. I bet you we can just open it up and watch it right here, though. Could reply to it. Let's see if it has threaded messaging. Doesn't appear to. It is kind of threaded. You can see my message and the message that came from Verizon right there. So it's better than I would have expected. Back in the main menu here, take a look at some of the other sections. Call logs, received, dialed, missed, all that kind of stuff you would expect. Contacts. Let's take a look at the contact list. There's not much in here by default. Nice big clear button underneath the D-pad makes it easy to navigate. It's all very well contained right here. You see we can add pictures, obviously. You can move from contact to contact much like you can through the sections of the menu, just by going left or right on the D-pad. It would seem that these buttons for the soft keys might be better served if they were slightly wider, more lined up with the on-screen counterparts, but let's add a new contact. You see it's only a one name field, combined first and last, always a bit of a problem on the Verizon devices. Multiple numbers, email, you can create groups, custom ringtones, pictures, and even IM screen names, so you can even select which service. And you'll notice what I just did. I meant to select it, and I did this a lot with Verizon phones. I hit the center button of the D-pad, which was save. It's kind of strange. Let's go back there. This is always something that bothers me. You have to hit the left soft key here to activate that in order to choose the service. I am forever doing this on Verizon phones and hitting the center button to select something because that's how most every other system in the world works. But once you've been using it a while, I'm sure you get used to that. So in any case, we just created a contact, not too difficult. Back out. You can see you have your favorite contacts, and there's the previously mentioned groups, and push-to-talk contacts, and we're going to test that a little bit later. Media Center, this is a VCast Music with Rhapsody capable device. 3.2 megapixel camera with autofocus, face detect features, stuff like that. Pretty decent. Of course, you can always get downloaded games from Verizon,